Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 197 of Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. Almost to 200 there, buddy. It's getting closer. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Tom Hunyadi. You may know me from my other show, Talk More Talk, a solo Beatles videocast where we talk all things solo Beatles. In today's show, we're going to do a little fun thing here. We're going to discuss McCartney and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We're going to discuss a few parts where a few years where he's been involved, and it should be kind of a fun topic here. One that is maybe a long time coming, as you know, he's been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, and we're just going to get to all that stuff soon. But joining me, as always, is my buddy, my partner in crime, my backwards traveler. He is Andy Nichols. Andy, I know you're still maybe just a touch under the weather, but how you doing, my friend?
I'm back. I'm back.
Yes.
I'm back this week, folks. It's good to be back and feeling a lot better than I was a week or two ago. Bronchitis is no fun thing, man. Let me tell you, I've never had it, and it's put me on my butt for about 3 weeks, and I'm just about over it. And I want to just say thanks to everybody who wished me well in the comments and tell me to get, because I was on the sidelines, but I was still texting Tom and trying to help Two Legs, while I was down for the count. And Tom did a really, really great job with Madeline Beccaro in his interview with her on her book.
In your mind.
In your mind, thank you. But we pieced that together, and the clips that you chose for that were really good. Some we had seen before, so.
So unfortunately, we weren't able to include the clip from Get Back where Paul was talking about John and Yoko, their relationship at that point in time. It was, however, in the audio version, right? It was able to stay.
It was, yeah. That was the footage from the Get Back documentary, which obviously is, very hot at the moment. So YouTube kind of went, you can't show that one. So, but we were able to put it in on the audio end, and it was kind of a happy coincidence that Tom and we would produce this show on Yoko's 90th birthday.
Yes, perfect timing.
Really perfect timing. And I think the Talk More Talk gang is scheduling to do a show as well on Yoko, right?
Absolutely.
By the time this is airs, it'll already been done.
Right. By the time this is posted, we'll have had Madeline Beccaro on Talk More Talk as well, talking about her legacy. So look for that on the Talk More Talk YouTube channel, and please subscribe to that.
The Paul Yoko chat was something very we haven't tackled before on Two Legs to do a dedicated episode on their relationship and the ups and downs and the myths
and this was just the tip of the iceberg kind of conversation. This was by no means to be a nasty gotcha kind of
we noticed there were some comments about that show, feeling that it was kind of a somebody had said it was very soft, towing the line interview, which we had Madeline on because she wrote a book, so
right.
That's
and we can maybe revisit this and at another time, and maybe add
listen. There's a lot. There's a lot of history there, and it's some of it, and some of it's not very good, and some of it is so warts and all, and we want to talk the myth and what the rose-colored glasses. As students of music history and Paul's history and everything, we just want the facts. What really was happening? We know PR and putting a good face on things, but we like the Lewison approach of getting down to the nitty-gritty, and like Alan Coe's, and like what does history show you what it was, and that doesn't always add up in this Yoko and Paul story. It just doesn't.
Anyways, so thank you everybody for checking that episode out. Madeline's a wonderful person. She knows Yoko very well, and the book is really good. So if you're curious at all about Yoko, check out the book. So, and she'll be at the Fest for Beatle fans.
Oh, she'll be there too. Okay, cool.
Yep. Anyways, so before we get to news, there's a little bit of news, but let's just do a little housekeeping, and we'll update you guys on the quest for 2K subs. Right now, we're at 1.41 2K. So thank you to all the new subscribers. Glad you're here. Check us out. If you like it, please subscribe. We really want to get that to that 2K by the end of the year. And when we get there, we'll do a little giveaway at some point. I mean, I really don't know what that will be yet. Maybe an Amazon gift card. Maybe we'll give away another McCartney Legacy book. I don't know. We'll think.
Band on the Run Half Speed Master
If
we get it by December.
Or maybe a Red Rose Speedway half speed master.
Maybe.
I don't know. But when we get there, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anyways, so yes, so we're at 1.1 or 1.4K subs now. Thank you again, and please, if you're on the audio platforms and if you want to check us out on the YouTube, please check us out and subscribe, and you get to see these lovely faces. Anyways, but Andy, we got the record store day. Now you're you enjoy it, but you're not like a diehard like my wife and I, where we can't camp out. We'll camp out in the middle of the night, and
you guys go 2 times a year, every year, 2 a.m. You're up and you're going.
Yeah, you're going. You know, we find it's worth it to be, you know, either first, second, or third in line. We tried our best to be first in line. So because we know, listen, there's one item here that's last year, the Black Friday, right? They only had one of the CDs for Old Wave. Okay?
Right.
So if I wasn't first in line, there was a good chance I might not have.
Maybe if that person ahead of you was a Beatle fan. Exactly.
Which there was a time where the guy that was in front of us was a Beatle fan.
Oh,
so
Christ.
You know, but anyways, there's a lot of times where, you know, we're in there, we're first and second in line, and there's only one copy of, you know, certain things that we want.
Whatever.
So we absolutely find it's worth our time to get there, and because we're big fans of it. But anyways, some big announcements for the record store today. We'll start off with this Lennon set, which is the Give Me Some Truth. We got that CD box set a couple years ago now, and
the 4LP.
Now this is just odd. It's interesting but odd. But it's 9 10-inch 45 or not 45s, but LPs.
10-inch. I wouldn't say record. LP, but it's a 10-inch, right? 10-inch record. Yeah.
And it's 36 tracks, I think, divided into 9 10-inch records.
Mm-hmm.
White vinyl, I think.
Vinyl.
Only 500 copies made, and it's going to be interesting to see who gets this, because you can order this all day long. That doesn't mean you're going to get a copy, you know. So you can write down, send me 3 copies, and you're not guaranteed to get this.
Mm-hmm.
I know record stores out there that have ordered everything, and they don't necessarily always get everything. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if I see it, I'll take a look at it. I'll see what the price is, but I really don't have a horse in this race. So I'm probably not going to. I'm happy with the CD set that I have.
You didn't get the vinyl box on that, Tom?
No. No, just the CD set.
Yeah. I grabbed both CD and LP in 2020. I think it's kind of redundant at this point. There's nothing exclusive to it. Okay, it's 10-inch records on white vinyl. Come on.
Right.
Initially, I didn't know if it was the 2010 Give Me Some Truth or the 2020, and then it was the 2020, because
2020.
There was a 2010 one, folks, for his 70th as well, which was another compilation.
Mm-hmm.
Only 500. I mean, I probably, even if there was 2,000 made, I think I'm definitely skipping this one. There's nothing new. There's nothing new about it, for this release as well. But yeah, it's a Beatle heavy record store day, and lots of other titles too.
It is. So we'll move on to Ringo next.
Yeah.
Like Black Friday last year, we got Old Wave, right, from this Culture Factory label, and this year they're doing Stop and Smell the Roses.
Yay!
So you can get, if you wanted to get rid of your '94 copy from the right stuff, you can do that. But it's going to be a 2 LP set. I really like the design of the vinyl. It's like red, white,
like a marble splash.
Yeah, like a marble. Right. And you're going to get the 6 bonus tracks that you got on the CD, which are Wake Up, Red, Black, and Blues, and you got Brandy, you got Stop and Take the Time to Smell the Roses, which is the original vocal version. You Can't Fight Lightning, and probably the handgun promos will be on there too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting.
The bonus tracks on the Right Stuff edition are what the extra tracks on the LP are.
Yeah, that's what will probably be on the second LP on that.
Yeah, that's an instant grab the CD and the 2 LP for sure.
Right, exactly. Now, with this, I think now from Rotogravure up to Old Wave will now have been reissued. So all of that Ringo stuff, that hard to get Ringo stuff, which you could probably find all that stuff in the dollar bin at a record store, let's be honest. Mm-hmm. But now it's all reissued and remixed or remastered or whatever.
Yeah, cleaned up.
Yeah, cleaned up. There you go. I like that. Cleaned up. So that's it. Now, another Ringo-related item is the soundtrack to the film Blind Man, which is if you've seen the film, it's kind of like a spaghetti western-ish type thing. Ringo, the blind man, kind of like a Zatoichi type thing, the blind swordsman. And now this is, I think I'm interested in this. Now I don't know if the song "Blind Man" is going to be on that soundtrack, but it's still interesting nonetheless. I'll have it on my radar. I'll pick it up. I'll take a look at it. And I'll think about picking that up. So that's another one of interest as well. Then the big news for us, and it's weird because they've all been on his website, right? But
not
this one, because it's out in April. It came out in April of 1973. It's the 50th anniversary. It's the Half Speed Master of Red Rose Speedway. That's the next installment of these Half Speed Masters that Paul has been doing since 2020. Right, with 2020. Yeah, with McCartney. Yeah, with McCartney. So, continuing the series. I mean, are you fine with the series? You haven't really been picking these up, have you? These Half Speed Masters.
I got them all.
Oh, you got them all. You did got them all. Okay.
Yeah, I have gotten them all, man. Every one of them. Yeah. Every one of them.
Couldn't remember if this was kind of like iffy for you or
no. The Half Speed remasters. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're great. They sound wonderful.
They don't sound any better than the archive. I mean, they sound just as good as the archive ones, if you ask me.
Okay.
I don't really notice any difference in vinyl quality, say from the 2 LP archive vinyl editions, or those Capitol reissues that were also done in 2018, 2017. They all, to me, sound fine. And as we've said, we're not playing it on $1 million sound system, but they're clean, they play well, and they look nice and they're packaged well. So. You got the nice little blue strip on this one for Red Rose Speedway. Oh yeah, so these are instant purchase. These ones for sure. And I know people say, "Oh, you got it 10 times," but listen, they're half.
So now you got it 11 times.
Yeah, and as this is one of my favorites. So this was a no-brainer. I just wish it was made available exclusively outside of Record Store Day, which is somebody like his contemporary Elton John is doing. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right. Yeah. So. Yeah, so the next installment, Red Rose Speedway, I'll definitely be getting it. This is on my list, as well. 5,000 copies worldwide. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't think we'll have a problem getting this.
No, I don't think so.
And I'm curious to know. I have to go back to his website and see if the past ones that were on his website, if they say limited and how many there were. I think 5,000 seems kind of low, but.
Because they were only through his website.
Right. Correct. And I'm not 100% sure
and I want to say, many. Yeah, how many? I want to say they were like somewhere in the $30, $35 range when they were on McCartney's website. McCartney, Ram, Wildlife so far.
Right.
No, and they're awesome. And you get that little insert there that tells you about the Half Speed mastering process, in each release. So Red Rose Speedway will be a nice addition to that collection.
Correct. Now, it does say first, Record Store Day first, so it doesn't say exclusive, so it looks like it could be released later on his website at a later date.
Oh, okay. Right, so it says Record Store Day first?
Yeah. Now, the other bit is really cool for Andy and I, and probably a lot of other people listening, is this Elton John. It's the, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and which album is it again?
We're getting a 2 LP version of "Don't Shoot Me, I'm Only the Piano Player."
I'm only the piano player,
which is also celebrating a 50th anniversary release in 2023 as well. I don't know, but then you're getting. I think you're getting
Two LPs.
Two LPs, and the second LP is just bonus studio demos of
right.
Daniel, Teacher I Need You,
Have Mercy on the
Have Mercy on the Criminal. Yeah. So that's going to be a hell of a release. I can't wait to snap that one up. I'm sure, and I know you will too.
Oh, absolutely. And I did recently just order from Vinyl Me Please the Hunky Chateau. They're reissuing that as well. It's nice, a beautiful swirl color vinyl on that.
Yeah, and that's also coming out as a 2 LP, 2 CD anniversary reissue. Which was really 50 years in 2022. Right. So Elton's got some nice stuff coming out as well.
Absolutely. So it's really cool revisiting these albums that we've been listening to for years.
Yeah, your favorite Billy Joel's got a live album coming out as well on Record Store
75,
Day.
I think.
Yes,
75.
Live in 1975, which is nice because it's kind of when he was still, not a megastar yet. And there's been a lot of Billy Joel later live releases, like in Russia and Shea Stadium and all that stuff. But it's nice to get a release from when he was still kind of the singer-songwriter before he exploded. So that I haven't decided on that one as well yet. But a lot of good stuff coming down the pike. Outside of Record Store Day, you got we got that Genesis BBC broadcast. That's out in April. The Who have a new live album coming out. Rick Wakeman's got a new album coming out this week. So it's a prolific start to 2023 for releases, man. Maybe not touring, but we're getting a lot of releases.
Right. Yeah. This is great. It's interesting when they go back and when they give you a second disc, what they've got, what they got to give us, and I love demos.
Oh,
I love hearing. Yes. You can give me demos all day long.
All day long. And those Elton ones, too. Yes. Seriously, I wonder if the Don't Shoot Me is going to get a CD release, or is it only vinyl?
Yeah, don't know yet.
We'll have to wait and see on that one.
We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, that's that right there. That's the news. He did do a Yale event that we'll probably talk about on Talk More Talk, because Ken Michaels did attend.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he did attend that. And he did say
that was a cluster of an event to get to.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. But he said it was more of the same old, same old. He said he was happy to go, but it was just more of the same damn questions. And I don't even want to talk about it because I'll just get pissed and frustrated.
Did you see that article from Beatles fan where the guy who went there rushed the stage?
Only one person got an autograph, and it was him.
Yeah. Surprised he was allowed to rush the stage.
Exactly.
And he looked at him and said, "Just one." That was a pretty cool story, though. But yeah, again, that was another fiasco to go to try to get tickets to. And listen, if you know McCartney, you know what that event's going to be. And I'm glad Ken got to go because he got to see Paul McCartney. How many people went? A couple hundred?
I don't know. And what about the timing of this? I mean, the book is already well over a year old.
The book's over a year old. Why wasn't he not on this tour a year ago?
Right.
You know?
It's just odd.
Yeah, I'm sure. You listen. Hey, you went great, but you would have been like, really, we're gonna listen to this again. Oh, God.
So frustrating. So
I would just love to be in the audience and be like, hey, man, Back to the Egg. What do you think?
Right.
You would throw him for a loop. He'd be like, I don't have that answer pre-programmed in my brain. I don't know what to say.
How did that do in the charts? Did it do well? Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Paul, I want to ask you about Spin It On. He's and he was at the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, he was at the Super Bowl. So I was in the same area because I worked the Super Bowl.
That's right, baby. You were right. You were there. I
was in the park. We were feeding in the parking lot. We had a big tent up, and we were feeding all of the behind the scenes people, the tech people, and all those people behind the scenes.
That thrilling halftime show, which I don't even know what the hell it was. Some lady, some big woman in a red dress who was pregnant or something. I don't know. I muted the television. What the hell was her name? Rihanna or something?
Rihanna, who does have McCartney tie, and I'm sure Paul enjoyed that. But anyways,
No, I was going to ask you what Paul's looking very grand duty these days, right? With the hoodie, right?
Right.
He's got the hoodie on everywhere he goes now. Hey, grand dude.
Well, it is hoodie season out here in Arizona, so it's.
Oh, what is it? All of 70?
It's listen. It's not 70s yet, but it's it's not New Jersey either.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I mean, it was cool. I didn't realize he was there until after I got home. I got home right as the Rihanna performance started, so I hightailed it out of there as soon as I could. But
so
you
were at the game. So you were at the game for the first half.
Yeah. Well, I got there at 9 in the morning, and we had the park across the street where the hockey arena where they used to play hockey. So it was like 3-block walk, and it's just people everywhere. And even then, at 9 o'clock in the morning, it was starting to fill up. So it's kind of interesting.
So you're there. Were you able to see any of the game while you were there
no,
first?
No. Well, no. I mean, we had the tent set up on the parking lot. There was TVs, so when the game started, the TVs came on, and I got to see Philly's first touchdown, and then as soon as Kansas City had the ball, they were making their drive, and then that's when I left.
You were in the same building as the man, though. You were there.
Yeah, I was still same vicinity. Yeah, it's
Hey, that's an experience, though, man. You were at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But again, I don't miss that style of work. I mean, listen, if I was employed by the company that actually did the service, it probably would have been an 18-hour day. So
right,
because it was you also had to load up because we were there for the whole week. Sunday to Sunday. Super Bowl day being the last day, then you're also responsible for loading everything up and getting ready to ship it. So it's those days tend to be the longest days. Like the first day and the last day tend to be the longest.
Still, what an experience.
Right. I remember one gig in Vegas. It was the closing day of a basketball tournament that we were doing in Vegas, and a college basketball tournament. And the last day there, I ended up working 18 hours. Then I went to the hotel room, got an hour nap, and then I had to start at midnight to begin the Miss Universe or whatever it was in Vegas. And that ended up being a 24-hour shift.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I love how you call them feedings and you refer to them as animals. I love it.
Right, feeding.
I love that.
Yeah. Well,
I love it.
Feed the cattle, the sheep, whatever. It's.
You crack me up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely an experience. Like I said, I mean, I've got to see a lot of shows from that having that job, but I tell you, I don't miss it.
You don't miss all those hours, right? No.
Oh no, I mean, listen, I mean, after you get removed from the actual excitement, from the initial excitement, from being at I remember the first time I went to the Hollywood Bowl. Okay, we worked at the Hollywood Bowl my first time. And we were just like a block away from the Hollywood Walk of Fame and all this stuff, and you're just super excited to be there, right? And I probably slept 2 hours that night before we got there, and I'm just like my adrenaline is going, and we're I can't remember what show it was, but I remember it was one that I enjoyed. Brother,
I gotta cut you off because your internet you've been very choppy for the last 2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard you fine.
Okay.
So there's been no problem in audio, but you're freezing and you're very bubble kind of messed up. Do you want to come out and come back in?
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Do that. Okay.
All right. Well, that works. Well, let's just get to
Yeah, we'll jump in. We can use this break to kind of go right into it. And we're not going to have to spend a whole lot of time on this anyway. And it was kind of good to catch up and do news. And because you and I haven't done the show in a while. So, I mean, we're going to 25 minutes, half hour on the Hall of Fame stuff, and then we'll be done. We're already at 25 minutes right now.
Exactly. So.
Okay.
But anyways, so what?
You cut out again. Jesus.
Well, I mean, but you can hear me though, right? You can hear me?
Now I can. Now you're good. All right, let's go. Yeah, okay.
All right. But anyways, look. Anyways, but yeah, like I said, I don't necessarily miss that job, but it's like again, it was cool, especially if those shows are really cool. Black Sabbath, and on Elvis Costello, on and on.
Bottle of red.
Yeah.
Bottle of white.
Too many Billy Joel. Too many Billy Joel shows. Too many.
I could just hear you in the back cooking. Things are okay with me these days. And you're like, off, Billy. Enough. I'm trying to get this work done. I want to hear your scenes from Italian Restaurant again.
Right.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what, though. I did get to see him do Vienna, which was one of my all-time favorite Billy Joel songs. So it was just so cool to see him do Vienna. But anyway, so again, my internet might be a little choppy. So if you see me freeze, hopefully you can just still hear me.
Yes.
But we're just gonna work with it.
We love you anyway. To know him is to love him, folks.
Thank you.
All right, so Hall of Fame. Oh man. Yeah. So today's show we wanted to talk about Paul as a solo artist getting into the Hall of Fame, which he did, but kind of talk about Paul's experiences with the Hall of Fame as a whole, kind of his history, kind of getting inducted with the Beatles, Paul inducting other people. And vice versa, and obviously, then Paul inducting Ringo later on. So, if you, it's always been a very kind of slippery slope with Paul in the Hall of Fame because, obviously, when the Beatles got inducted, it was, such a contentious time as we talked because he didn't show, and then things kind of got a little bit better there in the '90s. Things kind of obviously the tensions settled, and the Beatles were able to work together again, starting with the BBC album. And obviously then really when John gets inducted in 94 by Paul, that's when really the ice starts to thaw in the relationship between all of them. And as you just talked about with Madeline in the last episode.
Right. Well, let's just start right off to the beginning here. 1988, Beatles are inducted. This was I think the third class of second or third class. And I think it's the third. And obviously, Paul. Where's Paul? Right. So we've talked about this before about Paul, why he's not at the ceremony. Mick Jagger does give a fun introduction speech.
Yeah.
The four-headed monster. They had these long leather coats, and he's thinking one day if I'll get one of those if I have to learn how to write songs. It was pretty humorous, but. But as they came up, George, Ringo, you had Yoko there with Julian and Sean, which was kind of nice. But George really, obviously Ringo looked a little out of it, but George was kind of interesting. I don't know if he looked comfortable. He sounded fine. He wasn't at a loss for words or anything like that. But obviously he said, Paul was the one with the speech in his pockets, which was funny.
And then but that's when she said, well, I know John would have been here. See, this is like, this is the part of it that it just really kind of gets ugly, because the truth is not really out there, and it's a lot more than that, Well,
but
we talked about it on Stuck Inside These Four Walls. He should have gone. He
should have gone.
He should have gone for that, despite whatever was going on. Like you said, go. Smile, take the pictures, that, play the song, and then get out of there, and then resume your lawsuit, like you said. So not a good moment for him not going there, or her for even saying that. It wasn't just.
We don't know. And John was not with us anymore. We don't know if he would have showed up or not. Look, he was supposed to show up at the signing off of the Beatles of the Apple, right? He doesn't show. He sends a balloon.
Right.
We don't know for sure if he was.
Well,
if he was
impossible. Impossible
exactly.
to answer. But
which is unfortunate now. Yeah. But we've talked about before why he's not there. The McCartney clause. He re-signs with Capitol. They gave him a higher percentage of royalties. the others find out, and as we have what we have. He doesn't show because of lawsuit.
Well, in 1962, I met Mick. Well, I've been nominated to say hi and thank you. And I did have this speech written here, And, in 1922, when I wrote it, I could see it. So we'll just rip that up. You can sit down. I'm going to be here for hours. I see you didn't get tables at the back. Well, I'd really like to just thank everyone, here and everyone that's inducted us into this Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I love, they always called us a pop group. But... Keep going, Georgie, it's your turn. I'm doing good. He always knows. Anyway, there were 4 of us in that band, and it just seems to be George and I, Yoko, Sean, and Julian here. It's growing, every day. So give us the mascot helmet and let's get home. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And over to George and everybody else.
Thank you very much. I don't have to say much because I'm the quiet Beatle. It is unfortunate Paul's not here because he was the one who had the speech in his pocket.
And why didn't they play Octopus's Garden?
We'll talk about that later. Anyway, we all know why John can't be here, and I'm sure he would be, and it's hard really to stand here supposedly representing the Beatles. It's what's left, I'm afraid. But we all loved him so much, and we all love Paul very much. I suppose basically the reason we became the band was all the other people who are in the Hall of Fame already, including Leadbelly, because actually they stole his tunes, turned it into skiffle, and we all became skifflers when we were 13. And all of them in there, and all the people inducted tonight too, they all had great influence on us, and it was for that reason alone we just wanted to get guitars, get in a band, because we didn't really have proper jobs at the time. Anyway, it sort of turned out fine, and it's got a bit bigger than any of us expected. And it's certainly wonderful to be here, and certainly a thrill. And thank you all very much, especially all the rock and rollers, the little Richard there. If it wasn't, it's all his fault, really.
Yeah, but don't forget Muhammad Ali.
We won't forget Muhammad Ali. He picked us up in Miami Beach one day. Anyway, thank you all very much. And on behalf of John, I'm sure he's well covered here with Yoko, Sean, and Julian. And thank you all very much. God bless.
I wish John was here. He would have been here, you know. He would have come. He was that kind of person, full of music and love and sense of fun. And to me, this is a sort of a bitter moment bittersweet moment, rather. But there's always a blessing in life. And now we have these two beautiful boys. I'd like to thank Ahmet, Jan, and the Board of Directors of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for bestowing this honor to my late husband, John Lennon. Thank you.
I didn't have anything planned. I would just like to say, obviously I wish Dad was here. But I feel a bit awkward in this situation. But as well as thanking Dad for giving me a lot of inspiration in the past, I just want to thank the rest of the guys in the Beatles for giving me a lot of influence and giving a lot of other people influences too to live throughout their lives and help them. Thank you.
Well, I'm a little young to know about this kind of stuff, but I still, love the Beatles, and I'm pretty proud to be up here today for doing nothing. Thank you.
Okay, we're all doing nothing. Give us the prize and let's get home here. You know what I mean?
Anyways, so moving up to '94, right? John Lennon gets inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I still don't understand why the both of them were not inducted at
in
the
same
time.
year.
Now listen,
yeah.
Say what you want about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We know everybody's opinions on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. At this point in time, it's still has a higher reputation.
It did. Back then it seemed to be a bigger deal. Now
a
it's a
more
joke.
respected, little more respected.
Little bit more. It was like, oh my God, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like a big deal.
Right.
Now, the bum on the street who makes a record gets in. So who gives a crap? Some guy auto-tunes and does something on his computer and he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Don't get me started.
Right.
So, but back then, to your point, it was a bigger deal.
It was a bigger deal. So who's going to induct John Lennon into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Paul McCartney. Now, from my understanding, Paul did this with the understanding that he was going to get inducted the following year.
Right. John gets inducted by Paul, and Paul gives one of the best speeches.
You think so?
Ever. You don't like that? You don't like Paul's induction speech for John?
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I mean,
I love it.
It's nice. There's times where I think he's trying to be witty.
See,
and it just doesn't come off. It just doesn't feel natural.
Because he is trying to be honest about somebody that he loves so much, and to toe the line and say the right thing. And again, look at the way he delivers that speech and how he kind of gets through it. He goes, well, once we got through all our bullshit, I think he did as great a job as he could without divulging too much, but trying also to stay honest and true to what he was doing. And I love his induction speech for John. I think it's one of the best ones he's ever given. Because it's the emotion is there on his face.
It's a privilege for me to be able to do this tonight and come here. So I've got some random memories in the form of a letter to John. Dear John, I remember when we first met in Woolton at the Village Fete. It was a beautiful summer day. And I walked in there and I saw you on the stage and you were singing Come Go With Me by the Del Vikings. But you didn't know the words, so you made them up. Come go with me to the penitentiary. It's not in the lyrics. I remember writing our first songs together. We used to go to my house, Dad's house, and we used to smoke Thai food tea with this pipe that my dad kept in a drawer. Didn't do much for us, but got us on the road. We wanted to be famous. I remember the visits to your mum's house, Julia. It was a very handsome woman, very beautiful woman. She had long red hair and she played a ukulele. I'd never seen a woman who could do that. And I remember having to tell you the guitar chords, because he used to play the ukulele chords. And then on your 21st birthday, you got £100 off one of your rich relatives up in Edinburgh. Yeah. So we decided we'd go to Spain. So we hitchhiked out of Liverpool, and we got as far as Paris. We decided to stop there for a week, and eventually got our hair cut by a fellow called Jürgen, and that ended up being the Beatle haircut. Remember introducing you to my mate, George, my schoolmate, and him getting into the group by playing Raunchy on the top deck of the bus. You were impressed. And when we met Ringo, who'd been working the whole season at Butlins holiday camp, he was a seasoned professional. But the beard had to go, and it did. Later on, we got a gig at the Cavern Club in Liverpool, which was officially a blues club. And we didn't really know any blues numbers. We loved the blues. We didn't know any blues numbers. So we had to do announcements like, ladies and gentlemen, this is a great big Bill Brunsey number called Wake Up Little Susie. They kept passing up little notes. This is not the blues. This is not the blues. This is pop. We kept going. And then we ended up touring. And there's a bloke called Larry Pons who gave us our first tour. Thank you, Larry. And I remember we all changed our names for that tour. And I changed mine to Paul Ramon. George became Carl Harrison. And although people think John didn't really change his name, I seem to remember he was Long John Silver for the duration of that tour. Bang goes another myth. And we'd be on the van touring later, and we'd have the kind of night where the windscreen would break. We'd be on the motorway going back up to Liverpool. It was freezing. So we'd have to lie on top of each other in the back of the van, creating a Beatles sandwich. We got to know each other. These were the ways we got to know each other. We got to Hamburg and met the likes of Little Richard, Gene Vincent. Yeah. I remember Little Richard inviting us back to his hotel. He was looking at Ringo's ring. He said, I love that ring. He said, I've got a ring like that. I could give you a ring like that. So we all went back to the hotel with him, and we never got a ring. Yeah. We went back with Gene Vincent to his hotel once, and he was all going fine till he reached in his bedside drawer and he pulled out a gun. And we said, well, we got to go, Gene. We've got to go. And we got out quick. And then came the USA, New York City, where we met up with Phil Spector, the Ronettes, Supremes, our heroes, our heroines. And then later in LA, we met up with Elvis Presley. For one great evening, we saw the boy, you know, we saw him on his home territory, and he was the first person I ever saw with a remote control on a TV. Boy, he was a hero, man. And then later, Ed Sullivan. By now, we wanted to be famous. Now we were getting really famous. I mean, imagine meeting Mitzi Gaynor in Miami. And later, after that, recording at Abbey Road. I still remember doing Love Me Do, because John officially had the vocal, Love Me Do. But because he played the harmonica, George Martin, in the middle of the session, suddenly said, will you sing the line, Love Me Do? Like the crucial line. I said, okay. And I can still hear it to this day. John goes, wah, wah, and I go, Love Me Do. Nerves, man. I remember doing the vocal to Kansas City when I couldn't quite get it, because it's hard to do all that stuff, you know, screaming out the top of your head. And John came down from the control room. He said, he took me to one side. He said, you can do it. You know, you just got to scream out, leave the top of your head. You know, you can do it. So thank you for that. I did it. I remember writing Day in the Life with him, and the little look we gave each other as we wrote the line, "I'd love to turn you on." We kind of knew what we were doing, you know. A sneaky little look. Ah, boy. And after that, there was this girl called Yoko Ono, who showed up at my house one day, and it was John Cage's birthday. And she said she wanted to get hold of a manuscript to give to John Cage of various composers, and she wanted one from me and John. So I said, well, it's okay with me, but you'll have to go and see John. And she did. After that, I set up a couple of machines. We used to have these Brunel recording machines that I set up, a couple of them. They stayed up all night, and they recorded Two Virgins on that. But you took the cover yourselves, nothing to do with me. And then after that, there were the phone calls to you. The joy for me of, after all our business shit that we'd gone through, of actually getting back together and communicating once again. And the joy as you told me about how you were baking bread now, and how you were playing with your little baby, Sean. That was great for me, because it gave me something to hold on to. So now, years on, here we are. All these people, here we are assembled to thank you for everything that you mean to all of us. This letter comes with love from your friend Paul. John Lennon, you made it. Tonight, you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. God bless you.
So now he does this nice speech, which you're talking about. He kind of presents it as a letter to John, and hopefully we'll be allowed to play these clips as well. But presents it as a letter. You know, remember this time, I remember that time.
Mm-hmm. It was this girl, Yoko.
Yeah, exactly. He talks about writing a day in a life together, which was I think a lot of people thought maybe John brought his part in and Paul brought his part in. And he talks about he's always talked about writing Love to Turn You On together with mm-hmm. John. It's odd that he went into a little Yoko speech. Yoko came to see me. She wanted manuscripts, and then I told her to go see John, and she did. Which no, that's not that's not how it happened. As we talked with Madeline about that. So yeah, I don't think it's the best thing he did. I think he looks a little uncomfortable up there doing that. I know, Andy, you talk very highly of this speech, and I'm happy about that. And let us know in the comments what you thought about the speech Paul gave to induct his best mate into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What else do you have to say about that, Andy?
About the speech in general?
Yeah.
Just that. It's heartfelt. I mean, it's the form of a letter, but it's real. I mean, it's not easy for Paul to talk about his true emotions and feelings on stage in front of everybody. His eyes are darting. He's trying to get through it quickly. You've seen him do this in the past, certain times. Desert Island Discs. He'll avoid eye contact. He just wants to get through it because it is so hard for him to really say how he's feeling. So he's going to try to be PR mode, but in the moment when the spotlight's on you and you're talking about your best friend and all the crap that went down between the two of them, I think he nails it. I think he nails it in 94. I really do.
I think you bring up a good point there about the emotional aspect, getting out of there as soon as possible. The Desert Island Disc, right, where he, was purposely trying to hide his face in the shadows during the the playing of Beautiful Boy. So I can see it now as we're talking about it. I can kind of see it on that perspective. But yeah, so 5 years later.
Yeah. 5 very long years later.
Right.
And a lot goes down between that time. The anthology,
Right.
Linda passes away, Flaming Pie comes out.
Right.
A lot went down those 5 years. A lot.
Right. So Paul finally gets inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1999. Neil Young inducts him into the hall. Kind of like a half-ass speech. I thought, I just love him, and here he is. I thought he was a wonderful bass player.
Neil.
We love the Beatles so much, and it's funny because he's getting inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist, and people still just can't.
Nope.
They can't help themselves but bring up the Beatles. You know what I mean?
And we're talking 25 years after the Beatles, so the appreciation for the solo work is not happens now is not there at that time.
And that's evident with what he performs that night, right? And we'll get to that in a second.
But do you remember? Did you watch this live? I
did not. Now I did get to see the photos of a particular person's shirt that she was wearing, and we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, that was great. But so I remember at the time it was thought that Paul was a little bit under the influence and a little tipsy that night. I remember.
You'd be surprised.
I remember reading like forums and stuff back then. They were like, and if you watch his speech, it looks like he might have had one or two, in him. Because I remember his speech. He was like, "I love Cleveland," because Linda's mom is from Cleveland. It seemed like he was. It seemed like he was feeling no pain.
Oh yeah, and I love New York because I met Linda.
Right. Because this was in New York, right? When they have these induction ceremonies, they're in New York. They're not actually out in Cleveland in the museum. So that was in New York, and I remember I watched it. I don't know if it was live or it was broadcast a week later, but yeah, here comes Stella with the shirt.
Right, here comes Stella with the shirt, and the shirt is 100% accurate. And I like how when she gets up there, it's about fucking time. Okay. And she gets up there, and he points it out. He goes like this, and I think he wanted to make it a point, not to say it, but to show it. So bring Stella up there, and let people really know his true feelings about getting finally getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. I thought it was very brave of him to do something like that. I like how he's got his arms around Stella the whole time.
Yep.
And it's just like, making sure that people can see what it says on that shirt.
Yeah. Yeah, very subtle.
Yeah.
In the McCartney way.
It gives me great pleasure to be here tonight to induct Paul McCartney into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, America. Thank you, Neil. I love Neil. Okay. Well, unlike those other guys, I haven't got a speech. So this should be fun. I'm making it up. Yeah, man, well, here we are in the Waldorf Hotel in New York. And, this is like brilliant for me. It's brilliant stroke sad, of course, because, I would like my baby to share this with me. She wanted this. Yeah. But it's beautiful, she's beautiful, it's all beautiful, and we're cool. So, I'll tell you what I want to do, actually. I want to get my date up here, my date for this evening. I want to call her up. Come on, baby, come and share this with me. It's my little baby Stella. Come on. Get up here.
And she didn't know I was going to do this, so she's going to be highly embarrassed. But I don't care. A friend of ours had these baby booties on her baby, and it said, 50% mommy, 50% daddy. Well, here she is. All right, baby. She doesn't give a shit, right? These young people, you know, they've just got no fear. Okay, listen, so really what I just want to say, what we want to say is I love rock and roll because it made my life. By the way, while we're here, I mean, you got me, you got John in this. Okay, what about George and Ringo? Yeah! Come on, guys. Come on. I love rock and roll, I say. I love Cleveland. Because Cleveland gave me Linda's mom, who was from Cleveland. All right. Yeah. Cleveland. And I love New York, because New York gave me Linda. So I want to say to you all, thank you very, very much. And this one's for you, baby.
Yeah.
You know, and then he gets in as a solo artist and then plays 2 cover songs from the 50s and a Beatles song. Way to go. Way to go.
Right.
Bravo.
What was it? It was Let It Be, right?
They played What Did I Say, Blues by Ray Charles, Blue Suede Shoes, and Let It Be for getting inducted as a solo artist.
As a solo artist.
Right on.
So, you know, obviously maybe he felt, well, I didn't play well, you know, I was inducted as a Beatles, so I'll do a Beatles song. I just
maybe that, hey, I didn't show up in 88, so maybe this is my time to make good on that. Again, it's you know, it's nice that we're at a point now where the solo stuff is appreciated 25 years after that now, or whatever, close to it now, from 99. But I remember that speech by Neil Young was like, you know, like, all right, Neil, all right, go play, you know, Cinnamon Girl, go away. Go ahead, Neil.
Anyways, fast forward to the next year. Next year, James Taylor gets inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. This was kind of, I mean, I get it, but you're still kind of surprised in a way that that Paul McCartney inducts James Taylor into the Hall of Fame. I mean, yeah, he was signed to he was signed to Apple, but you still would have thought maybe someone like Peter Asher, you thought maybe would have done the induction speech because, you know, he was
the relationship,
because he was his longtime producer. You know, so, you know, Paul gets up there and just tells the story of James Taylor, you know, getting introduced by Peter Asher and, you know, listening to their songs. And, you know, he tells the story about, you know, we wanted people of talent to, you know, to come and perform and, you know, for our new label. And, you know, here comes James, and they were just blown away by his vocals. And they say, okay, yeah, he's one of our first signed artists.
Thank you. Oh, stop it. Sit down. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Eric and Robbie, for that. That was something else. Yeah. Okay, well, I haven't got any big, long speech you'll probably be glad to hear. I'm just going to remember a couple of things from way, way ago in the 60s when we were starting a new record label called Apple, before it was a computer. And we were looking for talent, so we sent out this message, "Come, O ye talented ones, unto us." And a few of them did. There's a lot of others came along with it too. But it was a great time, it was a crazy time, and my friend Peter Asher one day came to the office and he showed up, he said, I've got this guy from New York. I said, oh, go on, come on, let's have a listen to it, you know. And for once, it was someone really great, which I must say we didn't really expect. But it was this kind of haunting guy who could really play the guitar and really sing beautifully. And as I found out later, he'd been through a lot of troubles just recently, and he'd pulled himself out of them all. And he'd got over from New York, straightened himself out, and got to England. And we were just lucky to run into him. He was lucky to run into us, I suppose. And he started singing, and it was just so beautiful that right there and then we said, okay, he's on Apple. And so he was one of our very first artists on Apple. So as I say, I'm not going to go on too much about him except to say that I love him. And he's a really beautiful guy. We had a lot of good times back then, I think. We did. And I'm just very honored to this evening to induct him into the rhythm and blues, rock and roll, ballad, jazz, slow foxtrot awards here tonight. You got to do all those categories because we all know, you can't really call it one thing. Rock and roll is too sort of slim for what's been going on tonight. So it's too deep, Let's face it, I think the trouble about these occasions really is you can't put it into words. It's what Eric and Robbie just did and what James is about to do and what Bonnie did and Melissa is really why we're all in it. We're not really words people. We're singers, man, players and stuff. So anyway, I just want to thank everyone who voted for him, and it's my honor to induct him. But first of all, we're going to have a look at a clip. Yes, James. Okay, so I'm proud of this guy, and it's my great honor this moment, along with the fact that his kids and his mom and his girlfriend are in the audience, and we're all proud. So I'd like to now induct James Taylor into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come on, James.
Nice little speech by Paul there, goes on, I'm proud of him, I love him,
Yeah.
and that's it. James Taylor comes in and hopefully you'll see this speech here on the show. Then we jump up then a very long 15 years because then Ringo finally gets inducted into the into the Hall of Fame. Now the thing is he's not inducted as a performer. He's inducted as in the musical excellence department or category, I should say. So not as a performer like he was when the Beatles were inducted, and not like John, George, and Paul. So,
interesting. Why?
Right.
And why that and not as a bona fide,
Right.
This is the one where he was like, okay, you got me and Ringo in here now. When are we going to get George? Is that what he said that night?
No, that was I think that was for himself. He goes,
oh,
we got
okay.
me in here now. No.
We got to get George and Ringo. Okay,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting that they didn't think Ringo could. I mean, again, who gives a crap what they think? That's why this whole Hall of Fame thing. Whatever. The Hall of Fame is a freaking joke, and everything that it stands for now.
Right. I mean, but when you think about it, as a musical excellence, I mean that's fine. But as a solo artist,
Ringo,
he's had some success, even though that's not a criteria in getting into. But he's had the longevity, right?
He's had the long. I mean, if you look at Ringo Starr from 1970 to now, does his solo career warrant Hall of Fame as a musician status? That's a tough question. I mean, because then, another criteria is influence. He's definitely was more influential, I think, as a Beatle drummer than he was as a solo artist. Right. But he got in as a Beatle. So, you know what? I think how he got in is fine. You know, I don't think Ringo Starr's solo career is worthy. But again, it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I mean, he got in, so you know, for whatever that means, you know, good for Ringo. He should be acknowledged for because he's got for as we've said. I mean, how many drummers of a band have a solo career like his? You know, I mean, given whatever ups and downs that there are, you know, and there are, but he's got some really good ups. So, hey, if that brings more people into the Ringo sphere of attention to learn about his career, then good for them.
Ringo Starr was born in Liverpool at a very early age, and he had a hard childhood, a real hard childhood, but he had a beautiful mom, Elsie, and a lovely stepdad, Harry. Both of them had real big hearts, beautiful people, and they loved music. So at some point during this difficult childhood, Ringo got a drum. Yeah. Ringo got a drum. And that was it. That was it. He was now a drummer. He just drummed. Later on, he joined a group called Rory and the Hurricanes, Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. And we saw these guys when we were out in Hamburg. We were playing out there. And, I mean, Ringo was like a professional musician. We were just like slamming around, just singing and doing stuff. But he had a beard. That's professional. He had a suit, very professional. And he would sit at the bar drinking bourbon and 7. We'd never seen anyone like this. This was like a grown-up musician. Anyway, we got friendly with him, and he used to come in late night to when we were playing, and he'd request a couple of songs, so we got to know him. And then one night, our drummer then, Pete Best, wasn't available, and so Ringo sat in. And I remember the moment. I mean, Pete was great, and we had a great time with him, but me, John, and George, God bless them, yeah. Me, John, and George were on the front line singing, as we usually were. And now behind us, we had this guy that we'd never played with before. And I remember the moment when he started playing, and we started playing. I think it was like Ray Charles' What Did I Say? And most of the drummers couldn't nail the drum part. It's a little bit clear. You had to go. It was a little difficult to do, but Ringo nailed it. So, yeah, Ringo nailed it. Woo. And I remember the moment, just standing there and looking at John, and then looking at George, and the look on our faces was all like, fucking hell. What is this? And that was the moment, you know, that was the beginning, really, of the Beatles. Anyway. Anyway, then started this great journey for these 4 guys from Liverpool who we just set off on this journey. We did ballrooms and clubs around England, then we got a little work in Europe, and then we eventually came to America. And you know, here we were staying in rooms together, and I don't know if I was like a sheltered kid, but I just had my mom and dad growing up and my brother. So I'd never like stayed in a hotel room with a strange man. And you know, so this really brought us together, you know. We lived like in each other's pockets virtually. But it was a beautiful thing, it was a wonderful thing, and eventually we got on the Ed Sullivan Show, and we got really famous. But it was just so beautiful, you're playing with Ringo, because as all the other drummers say, it just is something so special. I mean, when he's playing behind you, you see a lot of these bands, when they're playing, they're looking around at the drummer like, is he gonna speed up? Is he gonna slow down? You don't have to look with Ringo. He's there. He's just a... Yeah. Anyway, so it's a great honor for me to be able to induce him. Oh, induct. Yeah. Okay. Into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in Cleveland tonight, Mr. Ringo Starr!
Paul inducts or induces him to, I don't know if you saw that, so I'm happy to induce.
Yeah.
Ringo.
Yes.
Then he goes and talks about the story of when he first realized. He remembers when he realizes that Ringo was it, right? I loved it. This was a funnier, more natural feeling speech for Ringo. And I just loved how he had a beard and that was professional, and he had a suit that was professional.
He had a car, and he had
right.
Which I always think is so funny for the guy who grew up the poorest of the poor out of all four of them, and he did. Those of you that know your Liverpool geography and history, Ringo didn't have a pot to piss in the area he was from, and he's the one that's got the car. Right. And he's in the top band in Liverpool.
Well, he's established, as they say, at that point in time.
Right, but I mean, he had nothing, living, in that section of Liverpool. And to see that's the guy who actually brought himself up and became the #1 drummer, and and they got him in. That he deserves. That alone, he deserves to be recognized for, to be that guy. Hey, you know what? I made something of myself, and got into the best band of the world. And you know what? I was saying, he was the luckiest guy. You know what? No, screw that. Ringo was perfect for what they needed.
Right.
And I think that speaks to that's why his induction is what it is. It's the how they categorize it again? What they call it, Tom?
Musical excellence.
That's it. That's a great way to sum it up.
Right. So then, they talk about that again. They say, well, Pete is, as great as he was, when Ringo came up, on a night that Pete couldn't make it, they were just like staring at each other, like, this is it, and the rest is history. So yeah, it's he's got he also inducted the Foo Fighters. We're not going to get really much into that. We're just going to try to keep this Beatle related.
Please.
So yeah. Hey, I like the Foo Fighters. But anyways, yeah. So Paul and he's got a little history with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And it's interesting because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as you know, I think Jan Wenner sits on the the board of directors there and chooses who to get in and who not. So and we know that Jan had a relationship with the Lennons that goes back decades. So
right.
Paul navigating that and coming into that world of the the rock criticism mainstream people has always been something that he's dealt with over the decades, and it's nice to see now that the establishment is supporting him, and as he's entering his later years here and recognizing everything that we've all known for decades.
Right. And I wanted to bring this up earlier when we were talking about his time being inducted. So he doesn't get inducted with John, right? And that should have been the first year eligible. I think this is 25 years after the release of your first album. Should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
So he gets inducted with George Martin. Great. Okay. Curtis Mayfield. Awesome. Del Shannon, Dusty Springfield, the Staple Singers. But the person that gets the top billing for that night is the Rolling Stone darling Bruce Springsteen.
Oh God, yeah.
So when you see the poster, it's Bruce Springsteen first and Paul McCartney, which Paul is, say what you want about Bruce Springsteen. Amazing live performer. Okay. But nowhere near the album and singles success that that McCartney has had. And that's just my opinion. If you disagree,
you disagree. Oh well,
you disagree. So, but found that pretty interesting. Anyways, Andy, anything else you want to add before we?
No, it's just it's an interesting kind of period of Paul's history with the Hall of Fame and with his non-appearance, inducting John,
Right.
him getting inducted, and then him speaking for other people. It seems that he's at a place where he's okay with it now. But obviously, there in the '80s, it was like a taboo subject, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and all that. So, it's for what it's worth. Again, as you mentioned, Tom, 25 years ago, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame had a much more higher level of respect and credo, and now not so much. So,
well, I mean, it's the thing is you like back then, early '90s, even into the mid '90s, you looked forward to see who was going to make it, right? And to see who was going to get snubbed or whatnot. The first timers that get in there, and then the people that get nominated, and that kind of thing. I kind of get excited about just to see the list and see who's going to make it. But when you're looking at a lot of today's artists that might not have the same impact that musicians had back in the 60s, 70s, and even into the 80s, it's laughable.
Yeah,
it's really laughable. So.
It is. So, and again, obviously, no Wings members present there in '99 at all. So, are we just calling it, Paul McCartney as a solo artist, 1970 to 1999,
right.
and that including all of the Wings, which is that age-old debate? Should is the Wings a real band or not? And I think by Paul getting in, that those that side on that side of the argument,
right.
that there's your answer, because there's your answer, because no, they're not a band, because it's Paul and Paul. And I'm on that side of that fence. Tom, I don't know about you. I think you were. I think you were not, and now you're starting to.
I mean, I'm really not going to say anymore. I can see both sides of the coin on this argument. Whether or not I think they belong in there, I mean, it really just doesn't matter because they're not. They're never going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So, what's the point of debating it? Anymore. It's like you Monkey fans out there, I mean, what's the point of continuing to debate this when it's just not going to happen?
Yeah, good point. But that's our take on Paul and his association with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Which have you ever been to, Tom?
Not yet. It's funny because we were just talking about it last night. Actually, about maybe making a trip.
It's well worth it. I went about 15 years ago. I went on a road trip with my uncle, and it's a great place. It's cool. Really awesome in Cleveland. Not a whole lot to do in Cleveland, but we went, and it was awesome. And while you're there, take an hour drive south and go to Canton, and go to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That was also awesome.
Okay.
So definitely worth the trip to go. And again, I'm sure it's gotten a lot more, added to it in the years since, but it's awesome. So yeah, road trips at some point. Got to get there. Got to go there again. Got to get to Tulsa, to the Bob Dylan Center. Right. That just opened up as well. Oklahoma was never like this.
Oh, well, there you go. So leave in the comments your thoughts about, Paul's involvement over the years in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, his induction speeches. I mean, the times that he showed up, the times that he didn't show up. Let us know your thought. These speeches and all that stuff. So Andy, you had just dropped a interesting episode with a particular person who we like not to, though he should not be named. But I'm just kidding, David. David, I love you. You're my man. You're my boy, Blue. But tell us about this. And you know what? I to be honest with you, to be 100% honest with you,
go.
In the back of my mind, I'm going, these fuckers are going to do something together one day. I know it. Just over the couple of years that we've been all texting each other, right. Back and forth, and then seeing that you guys are into kind of like the same thing. I'm like, back in my mind, I'm going, watch. These two will do something one day. Sure as shit. Tell us about it.
And we did. So yesterday, again, last week now, by the time this goes, on my channel, Andy's Music Vault, The Other Leg, I got together with Dave Gargalino, Tom's original co-host and cousin of Two Legs, because as Tom said, we have a lot of the same interests genre wise, prog rock and classic rock, and I've been wanting to do a series on a band where we kind of just go through every album track by track. And we kicked around a couple of different artists, Genesis, yes, and the band that we kind of really clicked on and we thought was easier to tackle first was The Who, because they don't have that many albums to do. So we are going to do a kind of an album by album review once a month on my channel. And yesterday on my channel, we recorded the first installment of that series where we tackled the first two Who albums, My Generation and Happy Jack. Which was what it was called in America. In England, it was called The Quick One. And I know that my partner there really likes it because of the quick one while he's away. Right, so we had a really fun chat discussing our early introduction to The Who, how we got into them, our favorite periods of The Who, and then really, because this early period of The Who was not our most favorite period, because they were much more R&B back then, kind of like the Stones and the early Kinks with You Really Got Me. Like, there was all that kind of sound. Really, there's some great tracks on these early Who albums, especially A Quick One, I think is way better than the first one. Of course, My Generation and other stuff, but we're going to go through each one once a month, and it was a great conversation. We spoke for about an hour, and our favorite, aspects of The Who, and trying to convince my co-host on this show to become also a bona fide Who freak. We're not there yet, but we're going to try like hell, and keep
trying, buddy, keep trying.
We're gonna, because you're just missing out. You're missing out on it, but we'll get you there. And then next month we'll record a dedicated episode on The Who Sell Out, which I have done before with another friend of ours in the podcast universe, Ethan Alexanian. Back in the day, we did a show on this album as well.
Right.
If you guys remember that,
Anything But the Beatles.
The short-lived Anything But the Beatles, which could be resurrected at some point. I'm leaving that in the hands of our colleague there, Mr. Ethan Alexanian, who's busy in college doing his thing. But we'll see him at the fest, and hopefully that can start again one day too. But that ethos of what that show is what I'm doing on my channel with David now, and he was awesome. And we had a couple of technical issues we had to sort out. He got his little bass guitar out too, and he's a great musician too. He loves playing music as well. So he gave us a few lines of I Can't Explain on the bass. So stay tuned for more on that, and check out that episode on my channel as well.
And I love that you brought up the single substitute, because it is one of my top 5 favorite Who songs.
You like that one?
Love substitute. Love substitute.
You do, yeah.
Oh, everything about it. The music, the lyrics.
Check out if you like it, check out the live version on Live at Leeds. It cooks. Go to the In-Groove. Mike, I need Live at Leeds. Give.
Right. All right, so on Talk More
what's
Talk,
up? What
my
do you
other
got
show, my other show, Talk More Talk, we, when this is posted, our interview or discussion with Madeline Baccaro on Yoko Ono's legacy, that'll be up by the time this is posted. So again, please go over to Talk More Talk, the solo Beatles video cast. Check it out and subscribe. Really, really appreciate everybody that goes and sees us live every other Monday, or we try to be every other Monday. The last couple months we've had to switch schedules, and we had to switch dates and all this. But anyways, you guys are there, you join us, and we love the comments again, and leaving our comments here too about the show, about the topics of the show. We love to hear from you. We might not always get to your comments, but we love to hear from you all the same. So for Two Legs, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Two Legs. Email us at twolegspodcast@gmail.com. We want to hear from you. We want to hear if you have any topic ideas, something that you think that we should be talking about. Please let us know. And Stuck Inside These Four Walls, we'll be back. We'll be back soon. By the time this is posted, on the 28th? This is gonna
5th.
This episode right here.
Yeah.
This will be. Okay, so we don't have one more episode for the month of February?
No, this is it.
This is it. Okay, so hopefully by the time we'll be back with Stuck Inside These Four Walls. And myself, Andy Nichols, Joe Mayo, and Beatley Tone, we had a great time with that first episode. A lot of you guys liked it. We didn't really get any negative comments on that. So again, send twolegspodcast@gmail.com. Please send us something you think that we should be talking about, a topic or an opinionated question that you think we should discuss during that, and we'll Put that. We'll insert that into the show.
And
so again,
we're gonna eventually we will go live with that show, but we're gonna record this next one again just because we're still kind of working the kinks out in the flow of the show. And I know we did a poll on our YouTube channel, and there were a lot of I think it was nearly 100% said go for it live, and we will get there with it live. But there's a lot of logistical issues with Tom being in Phoenix, Tone being in the UK, you know, and Joe and I on the East Coast. So we have to kind of really work to that to do live, you know, as you watch Talk More Talk, same thing. Let's see, you've got to find it. So we'll get there, but it was a hell of a lot of fun, and we'll be recording that one probably I think by the end of February for a early March posting as well. So look for that. Look for the next installment of that somewhere that first week of March as well.
Great. Okay, so Andy, my friend, always good to see you. And what is that? That's that Bob Dylan set behind you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, look at that. That's what was that one again for the
Fragments?
Fragments.
The bootleg series, volume 17, Time Out of Mind sessions, which I'm almost done with, and I am going to finish it before the 7-inch single set. Sorry. I don't have to get up and down as much with that. I can put it on.
That's true. That is true.
81 times, man. You did it.
Oh, that is true. Everybody out there, we love you. And as always, have a great day and a beautiful night. Take care.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan